Hey everybody. Welcome to the Mark Parham podcast. This is one of my first video podcasts on Spotify. And I would just like to say that I don't know what's going on with the Trump administration right now. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, so many people voted for Donald Trump in the past. And, it's just like he's complaining about the Olympic athletes. He's complaining about the Super Bowl performance with Bad Bunny. Like, it's almost like getting to the point where, any person or anyone who doesn't agree with what he's doing, he has a problem with. And so, all of these unnecessary back and forth, situations with Canada and the politicians, up there, it's crazy. And I think we're getting to a point where a lot of Trump voters are actually, probably regret voting for Donald Trump. And, it's amazing how, in less than, well, probably, I would say, what, a year so far, that, all of the things that he spoke about, saying that he's not going to go to have any unnecessary wars and, that he's a deal maker and all this other stuff. I mean, he's turned into the you know, president that he said that he wasn't going to be. And I think it's just, he's done a whole 360, considering some of his campaign promises. If you look at the border, he was a success with, immigration and being able to close the border because so many Democrats, wasted time, getting things straight with the, closing the southern border. But if you look at, the economy, if you look at all of these other things, he's done a poor job, in my opinion, so far. And so, it's to the point where even people who were hardcore MAGA supporters are now starting to question why they even supported him. And that's not a good sign. And so, it's it's very sad. It's and even some of these folks that supported him, like Candace Owens, people now are like, the Democrats are sitting up and making some good points when they talk about the economy and just different things. And so, I think that in the future, a lot of Republicans are going to have a hard time getting elected. And the reason why I say that is because the old days of, making a bunch of promises and, saying you're not for war and all this other stuff, if you're really somebody that says all those things on a campaign trail and you don't actually do those things, then it's not going to, folks are going to just turn their back on you. And Donald Trump is, I don't even think he's listening to his voters anymore. It's like any person that sits up and says, well, you know what? We don't want to do this trade deal with you, or we don't want this to happen, or just, any little thing. He just, lashes out and puts out a truth social. And so that's not the way to run a country where you're sitting up and you say we're going to put tariffs on this country, then you turn around and say, everything's good. And so, even if you look at the economy, it's just like up and down. Like one minute he wants tariffs on a country and their goods and things like that. And then the next moment is just like, oh, well, I've talked with this leader and we've changed our mind. It's like there's no stability. Like basically, it's almost to the point where it depends on his mood, with a lot of different things. And so I'm even, hearing stuff where, he's talking about Cuba and he's with Lindsey Graham. It's just like a lot of folks who voted for him are not big fans of Lindsey Graham. So why would you be hanging with Lindsey Graham of all people? Lindsey Graham is somebody who wants war everywhere. Like he's pro-war. He wants to, just anywhere there's a war that's about to happen, Lindsey Graham pops up. So why Trump would be hanging out with Lindsey Graham and then, saying stuff about Thomas Massey makes no sense. And so, sorry, my voice, but I think a lot of voters are, just turned off by Donald Trump right now. So that's just my opinion. And like I said, this is my first video on Spotify, my first video podcast, and I plan to make some more. So thanks for listening.